Okay, good. I'd like to talk about the paradiddle-diddles on the kit a little bit, something I've done in the past. I'm going to move this over. What I love about paradiddle-diddles is they don't alternate. So it's kind of the opposite feeling of what we did last week with the double paradiddles. The double paradiddles switch your hands back and forth. The paradiddle-diddles do not. They keep it going one way. And of course, it's the inclusion of doing doubles and singles. But if you notice, that always lands to the right hand. And I'm playing that quiet enough that hopefully it should be okay. But that's the idea. Now, the beautiful thing is if you split that, if you take it here, you get a really, really nice sound. And if you notice that ride pattern, or that hat pattern that I just played right there, it's the jazz pattern. It's what you play when you're playing a basic swing thing. So if I turn it around like this, 1, you get that swing type sound. So it automatically fills in all the holes against the jazz ride pattern, which is great for comping. It's also great for filling it in around the kit. So what I want to do a little bit is play a jazz ride pattern and then fill it in with the snare and take the snare in and out. And all I'm doing is incorporating a paradiddle-diddle inside of my swing. So let's do that. I'm going to play a swing pattern and then drop in the paradiddle-diddle so you guys can see how that works. Okay, you ready? Let's go for it. 1. Okay, so you see how I'm doing that? Now with the comping, it works great because it fits right in there. And if you could work this up and get it faster, you'll have this little rolling thing happening with your left hand in the comping. Now, again, I know I'm doing a traditional grip after everything I just said, but I am more comfortable in that way. So, you know, it's just from time and playing. So don't give me too much of a hard time about it. But yes, you can do it in match grip too. You can really get that same sound. It is definitely a feeling thing using the traditional. Let's do that same thing a little bit faster. So I want you to hear it more in a bop tempo, what this kind of thing sounds like. Ready? 1, 2, same tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so see how that sounds inside of a bop when you go a little bit faster? Really fills in all those licks. It's a really, really nice pattern. Now, doing everything we just did with getting in and out of that, that's where this really comes in. So you should be able to mix up that pattern, taking in and out inside of your fills and inside of everything without getting tangled up. And it really helps condition just doing a straight paradiddle-diddle inside of a groove or inside of a jazz pattern. Now, that's also something you could use in a rock. It doesn't have to be over a jazz setting. It could be over a funk. It could be over a rock. Something that works great. So let's try it over like a funk type groove. Okay, same thing. Ready? Okay, so see how I use the same idea, but over like a funk? So it does give you that jazz beat, but all I'm doing is bringing the right hand down to the snare drum to give me that backbeat. Very, very cool thing to use. Now, people are going to ask, how do you do it across the drums? It's the same thing, same exact pattern, but now you can move it across the drums, and you get the same type of deal. lead with your right hand, lead with your left hand, depending on how well you can do it with that backwards way. It's not a bad idea to practice it that way. And we could move the same thing around the toms. So let's do that now as a fill and move it around the drums. This time I'm going to go back to a jazz, back to a bop, so you hear it a little bit faster. I'm going to move it around the toms as just a Trading Fours thing. 1, 2. So you see how nicely that lick works? It's so smooth because it fits right into the same thing you're already playing on the ride cymbal. So all you have to do is fill it in and move it around the tom-toms, and it's a fantastic thing to do. Really, really cool, really sneaky, okay? It's like one of those rudiments that kind of sneaks up on you and really sounds great when you play it around. Another variation I personally like to do, and this is I've seen a lot of guys do this, is actually substitute the left hand with the foot. And there's two ways of doing that. You could take the paradiddle diddle and take those two lefts and substitute it down on the foot, or paradiddle diddle and actually split the double between your left hand and your foot. So there's two different ways of doing it. The one way requires two bass drums, which gives you that. The other way gives you only one bass drum. Same pattern, we're just using the foot to substitute in there. So let's just try that around the kit, and I want you to see the difference between those two licks. So we'll do it like 1, 2. Okay, so you see those two different ways of playing that lick. Did it a couple of different speeds so you could get the feel of it. And that's what it is. It's still a paradiddle diddle, and I'm just moving it around the drums. Now, eventually, from practicing those type of exercises, you can incorporate that into your playing, into your musicality. Because remember, the goal with technique is not to get wrapped up in technique. It's to just, understand what your choices are and then have that as part of your vocabulary. Now, that particular fill might not feel good to you once you practice it, so don't use it. The beautiful thing about sticking is that there's so many combinations of this that you could really make it your own. You could do your own thing. Those are just two versions of a paradiddle diddle that occurred to me, so I use it all the time. I use it, I teach it, it's something that really works great. And it's something that you could bring into your playing, or it's something that you could just reject and say, you know what, I'm going to try a different variation of it. It makes more sense for me to start with the bass drum or substitute the rights instead of the lefts. It's completely up to you to customize it and make it your own thing. But my point is just taking this type of lick and just kind of being able to throw it into exactly what I'm playing in a musical situation without overthinking it or doing any extra work. And going back to what we just practiced, all these paradiddle diddle sprints, I should say, it's just getting those things to feel comfortable over your playing. The end goal is music. The technique is a means to an end. The end is just being able to play. So don't get so wrapped up in the practice that you lose sight of that. It's not just patterns here. We're trying to create music. So that's always the end goal. As always, I'm going to leave the chat open. If anyone's got any questions on Paradiddle or anything like that, feel free to get in touch with us. Of course, emails too. Emails have been great. I always get back to you. So a couple of guys have gotten in touch with me through Facebook. That's fine too. The Facebook is actually pretty new. We just started building it. So I know I'm bad with social, but I'm getting better. So that's it. I'm getting better with it. But yes, everyone's beating us up about the Facebook and all that stuff not being up and running. But we're getting there. So definitely, as soon as we launch that, everyone come in there and like it and do all that stuff. You know, all that the social thing that makes it happen. We're gonna be including a lot of stuff on Facebook and on Twitter and all that. We're just starting to really get into that stuff. So just bear with us as we build everything. There's a lot of irons in the fire here that we gotta get together. But we're cranking along. So we appreciate everyone's patience and everyone's suggestions. So keep those coming as well. And that wraps us up for today. So if anyone's got any questions, always get in touch with us. We will get back to you. And tomorrow we'll be back into rhythm. You know, Thursday is our rhythm day. So we're going to get back into a rhythm chart. And I believe we're going to bring the tempo back and really do it slowly to really get the accuracy down. So get ready to get into all those fancy rhythms and really, really trying to hone them and make them accurate. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for that. So in the meantime, remember to always practice with purpose.